hey, this book we have really, really loved over the years, but we've kind of put it on the back burner and put it on the shelf. And I was reading an article that reminded me of it, and I was like, ooh, we really need to do this book. And it's so valuable, more now than ever, for the teams that we deal with. And the teams, the experts that we have in our business are certain that they have the right idea, and they forget that there are bigger ideas out there. Like, crowds could be smarter than what we understand. And there's a whole bunch of people out there that are smarter than us. And just because our experts think they know all the answers, doesn't mean that they have the right answer. And this is about planting the seed now for them, so when your team is certain that they've got the idea right, you can always say, is the submarine here or is it over there? Now this might be a little bit confusing, but don't worry, it'll all be making sense in a little bit. Enjoy the talk. The sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Now, we've all heard this before, but what does it actually mean? Like, anyone? Anyone? Yes, absolutely. The people are greater than the whole. Yes, the people right here, right now are greater than the whole. Now, I want to see if you guys remember. Do you guys remember this? The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It was a great time. I loved the questions, and I loved answering it and seeing whether I was right or wrong. Now, just for a moment, imagine that you are about to win the $1 million. You're coming up to that last question. You've done really, really well. You've got all your lifelines. You're set. The last question is, for the $1 million, is how many crew members are on an attack submarine? Panic sets in. Now, I know what the first thing that people do is they go for the lifeline, the 50-50. Like, please take away 2 wrong answers. And now we've got stuck with 2. We've got the 208 and the 135. Now, you have a choice. You still don't really know the answer. It's very, very random out there. And like, which one do you pick? So you've got the choice of phoning a friend who's a naval officer. He's been in the service for years and years and years. He's an expert. Or you can ask the audience. Now, what do you do? What do you do, right? And I want to put a pin in that for a moment. I want you guys to just let that simmer in the back of your brains. And I want to share something with you that I learned and I picked up from this great book. The book is called The Wisdom of Crowds by James Surowiecki. Okay? The book tells us about a great story. And in fact, about a submarine, right? The submarine is the USS Scorpion. Now, an attack class submarine in the military of the USS States, right? The attack sub Scorpion. Now, the date was May 1968, and the location was somewhere in the North Atlantic. Lo and behold, the sub goes missing. No one can find it. They send out search planes, reconnaissance ships, sonar, everything. They can't find it. Now, they know where the last known location was. It was a 20-mile radius. But sadly, they couldn't find it. Years and years went by and no one could find it. But this is a bit of a disgrace for the US military. So they said, you know what, to save face, we're going to put in massive amounts of effort and we're going to find this sub. So they knew the last known location, but they needed better data. So they sent in experts. They called out all the experts. They're experts on currents and tides and how everything works. And they had experts on ocean floors and how they moved. And they had military strategists come in saying that, oh, in this situation, the training would have told them to do this. And they even had people come in with horoscopes to see what the experts would have thought they would have done or where the ship would be. And they came up with a whole bunch of spots. And unfortunately, they sent sub-downs and nothing was ever found. So they were frustrated now. And an outsider popped up and said, do you mind if I have a look at the data? And they were like, we've tried everything else, so might as well. So he had a look at the data and unpacked everything and looked at all of it. And then what he did is he drew a line from each one of the other experts to a middle point. And he said, go search there. Lo and behold, they actually found it. 220 meters away from where he said it would be, they found the USS Scorpion. Now, this again goes back to the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Now, in the book, they explain a couple of things of how to unpack this. So big groups can solve problems better than individuals. Yes. Now, there are a few rules to this. The first one is the more diverse the group, the wiser it is. The second one is the bigger the group, the more intelligent is. But the third one's a bit of a negative because if you have a herd mentality, that herd behavior weakens the group, much like social media. They just lead you down a path. And this is something that we need to avoid as much as possible. But just to recap those, the more diverse the group, the wiser they are. The bigger the group, the more intelligent they are, but the herd behavior is something that weakens the group that we need to stay away from. Now, there's one quote that really stood out from this book, and that was, paradoxically, the best way for a group to be smart is for each person in it to think and act as independently as possible. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you this because it's something that is pertinent to how we deal with our teams. Now, Harry Beckwith said this, and it's a quote that you've heard from us many, many times, is certainty is your ego moving in for the kill. Too often we behave like the experts and we don't get enough opinions on it. We need to broaden our horizons. We get so caught up in what we think is right, but it might not be the right solution. We are the experts, yes, but we forget to research. We need to ask as many people as we possibly can. We cannot be certain in our own perceptions. So this brings us back to the millionaire question that I was asking earlier, right? So we're back there. What do? We've got the phone a friend, we've got the ask our audience. We need to decide. So who would you guys pick? Would you phone the friend or ask the audience? Well, now we know kind of what to do, but who thinks we get it? Who do you think gets it right more percentage of the time? Okay, the phone of the friend or the ask audience? Okay, phone a friend, and you say ask the audience as well. Okay, so we've got a split here. Right, so let me show you the numbers. The phone a friend gets it right 66% of the time. And the ask the audience gets it right 95% of the time. Now, with that in mindset, just for funsies, okay? Who here wants to give a shot with the right answer? Is it the 208 or the 135? Which one do you think? Okay, we've got a 208, right? And all 208. Okay, well, it's actually the 135. There's 135 crew on an attack submarine. Now, for the weekly thing that we need to take away, and the real takeaway from this is to ask other people. We need to ask our customers. We need to ask outsiders just to get a better idea of, are we still on the right track? That being said, have a great week, everyone. Chat to you later.